Evening, everyone. Today I'm going to discuss an album that changed my life. An album that wanted me to be in the music industry more than ever as a singer-songwriter myself, which influenced me. This album is called Justified, and it is by, of course, none other than the great Justin Timberlake. Justified for me changed the whole landscape in 2002. From production, songwriting, it to me it was like I never heard anything like that. And I know a lot of people got an opinion on it, but for me it was just like, what is this? What is this? I remember when he first dropped the Like I Love You track, and remember seeing the video on TRL. It captivated me. And I've always looked up to Justin musically. Always admired his drive, his writing ability, his performance, vocally, everything. So that's my opinion. I know people have an opinion of Justin, but for me, he's one of my influences as far as singing. I want to talk about that first track, Senorita, number one. Pharrell was in his bag when he was making that. I actually watched on YouTube the making of Justified. I think it was like 10 or 11 segments of that on YouTube, and just to watch that, and I watched it in its totality, the whole thing, and just to see the process of making that, and them in the studio, and them vibing off of each other, and giving out ideas, and putting songs together, Rock Your Body, Last Night, seeing how Justin was laying down the bridge to that, and a little certain ad libs to that was phenomenal. I remember when I first heard the song Still on My Brain. I was like, whoa, what is this? Justin was definitely in his R&B bag with that. And I remember just hearing it. It was like, beautiful days are long gone. I can't seem to breathe. Feels like it hasn't been that long since you walked away from me. Now I can try to act real strong, but you and I both know I still think of you that way. I was like, man, Justin, what in the hell are you doing? But I fell in love with that song, and just the melody of that, and watching him create that song on YouTube, it made me had a bigger appreciation for that song. I'm also a huge fan of a lot of the deep cuts that didn't really make the commercial appeal. Like, I like the song Never Again, and it was produced by Brian McKnight, and I didn't know that. Even after all these years, I think I found out Brian McKnight produced it about a couple of years ago, but that was one of my favorite songs. And for Justin to end that album with a ballad like that, and then to find out who helped produce that, Brian McKnight, who was a legend of his own. I know how people feel about Brian McKnight personally, where things are going on, and people talking about him and his kids. I understand that. I stay out of stuff like that. I strictly enjoy people for what they do for a living, and they are musicians, and they give us great music. And Brian McKnight is a great producer, great songwriter, great vocalist, period. But to find out that he produced that, and just Justin's whole vocal delivery on that, you can hear little Brian McKnight isms and nuances in that. And Never Again is one of my favorite songs. I still bump that to this day. Cry Me a River, I guess it's a confrontational track nowadays because of what came out with Justin and Brittany and all that. Again, I don't get into what people personally did. It's a banger though. I know that when it comes on, it gets people on their feet. Timberland produced the hell out of that. The beatbox track with that, and Justin doing his Michael Jackson thing all over that track is a classic. And then songs like Let's Take a Ride, which is, man, Let's Take a Ride. A bridge into a bridge into another bridge. That's how I think of that song. But the like Pharrell doing this thing on there, that's a Neptune track. Like, you would know that if you didn't know he wrote on that. I mean, that if you didn't know that Pharrell produced it, because just the drums, the layout, everything on that just streams like 2002 Neptunes, and I love that track last night. And Justin's falsetto all around that, phenomenal. What that track, what that album mean to me personally is just it. Man, it changed the way I saw and listened to music, and it put a fire in me to want to do that and want to do this. And shortly after that, I tried my stick at trying to get out there and do my music thing, but it was all because of that album, Justified. And it was just like when it dropped, I was like, man, Justin is going to jump out of this world when this whole album drops, and he did. And then I remember when he went on tour with Christina Aguilera, and they did the whole Strip Justified tour. That was great. But Justified overall had some bangers, had some great producers, and the tracks were fire. And to this day, I bump that album. There's no skips on that. From beginning to end, Justified is an absolute classic. And I just want to get my thoughts on that. Peace.